Welcome back to I Pierce the Toast. I'm your co-host, Sean.
And I am AJ. And I just want to talk about the fact that I think we should probably start calling this IPTT.
IPTT. See, that sounds like a technical college, like IPTT Tech. Call us now for a degree in engineering. Like I don't know how that's gonna work.
I mean, it's short. It's to the point. I like it.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. As the person I am, I'm a big fan of short and to the point. But irregardless, which isn't a word, AJ, what do you have for us today?
Today we're going to talk about Cool World.
Oh, you knew my birthday was coming. That's what.
Oh
yes.
yeah.
This is a birthday present. Oh, you delicious man.
For anyone that is unaware of what Cool World is a movie from 1992. It kind of is in the same vein as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just a lot of wackier.
So what do you mean by that? In the same vein as Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Well, there's the live action actors, of course, but then there's also cartoon characters that get put into it. Now, these cartoon characters are proprietary. They're not like, Disney characters or anything like that. Although they were, in somewhat shape or form, based on Disney characters.
Okay, so
and
these are
Warner
all
Brothers characters.
So these were all made in their own right. These were never based on any other characters, like we saw with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where literally we were bringing in both Disney and WB characters. Or were there? Yeah, there were. Were there Disney
they were
characters?
both.
In who was Disney and Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I don't remember at all.
Mickey and Donald.
Right.
Or not Mickey and Donald. Donald's not. Oh, no, Donald is Disney. What the hell am I talking about?
Yeah, Donald's Disney, and
Yeah.
he was in that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm thinking, I just remember all the WB characters,
Yeah.
like
Daffy.
and I was
Bugs.
thinking Bugs Bunny when he's like
Yeah.
falling and he's got the spare tire. I've got a spare. Here you go.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how this was. It was just like they were going to make their own movie. They based them kind of off of the Warner Brothers and Disney's, but they were like, hey, we're going to make our own movie. The inception of it was actually pretty interesting, too, because Ralph Baranski went to Paramount, and he was like, hey, I have this movie that I want to make. It's about a guy that is a artist who's kind of underground, and he has sex with a doodle, which is what they call the cartoon characters in the movie. And he has a half doodle, half human son who he kind of neglects. And then the half-human son comes to the real world and tries to kill him.
Okay, wait. Am I completely misremembering this movie? Is this the plot? Am I?
No, that's what the plot was intended to be.
So this is the original pitch.
Yeah, this is the original pitch of the movie, and they loved it. They bought the script, and they were like, "Hey, let's do this." Then they changed everything.
Clearly,
Ralph. There's actually a rumor that goes around that Ralph Baranski was, kind of going along the motions, and he really wanted to make this. He thought everything was good, but then they changed all of what he envisioned. And the producer, Frank Mancuso Jr., apparently was a part of this. And the rumor is that he punched Frank, and they got into a scuffle, but that actually didn't happen. He's actually trying to get his name cleared. He's like, this did not happen.
So it's just literally just a rumor that got started based off the fact that they did so many changes to the original concept.
No, they definitely changed it behind his back, but I don't think the producer had anything to do with that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to the actual plot of this movie, who's in this thing? Like, who do we gonna know?
Well, you got a young Brad Pitt who plays Frank.
Okay, so this is what 1992 Brad Pitt. So he's like 6. Okay, got it. No, I'm kidding. He's like in his 20s.
And usually we give you a little bit of the filmography of these people, but if you don't know who Brad Pitt is, what are you really doing?
He was in Footloose, right? Is that?
Yeah, he was in Footloose. He was in Airborne.
Yeah, Airborne.
No, that's a movie we're going to discuss, guys. I swear we're going to bring this one up.
Oh God, I love Airborne. Okay, but no, yeah, obviously Brad Pitt's catalog is pretty well known.
Yeah.
But if you don't know it, Bullet Train just came out.
Oh yeah, Bullet Train just came out.
Okay, who else? What do we got?
You got Kim Basinger.
What was that again?
It's Kim.
Kim Basinger.
Yeah, she plays Holly Wood, who is like the doodle main character in there. She was in Batman, LA Confidential.
Wait, she was in... Oh, that's right. She's Vicky Vale.
She's Vicky Vale.
Oh, I completely forgot she was Vicky Vale. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Now, we'll have some contending moments later about Kim, but...
Why would you ever... You don't need to contend.
No, we'll talk. We'll talk. We'll have a conversation.
Is this like an intervention? Like, am I getting a Kimmervention, if you will?
I think so. I can't say her last name, and that's fine with me. But then there's also Gabriel Byrne, who, fun fact, I always confuse him and Alpha Merlina.
Yeah, I still don't understand this.
I don't get it either. They just kind of look similar to me, so I'm like, like they're kind of odd looking.
They're both white, weird looking guys with dark hair.
Kind of. No, Gabriel Byrne is in this. He plays Jack Dees, who's like the artist who thinks he created Cool World, and we'll get into that.
Okay.
He was in End of Days, Man in the Iron Mask, if you've never seen that. There's Charlie Adler, who is a voice actor who plays Nails, which we'll get into who Nails is later. But the issue is that a lot of these voice actors, that you wouldn't really recognize them if you just heard their voice, but they actually were like almost the foundation of our childhood. Charlie Adler did Buster Bunny in Tiny Toons.
I was about to say, I know that name.
Yeah.
Like that seems super familiar. Like I've seen it on screen before. And okay, so he was Buster Bunny.
Yeah, he was Buster Bunny. He was in Aubrey Monsters, Rocko's Modern Life. Then there's Candy Milo, who plays one of the love interest and another side character in the movie Lynette. She was in Jimmy Neutron as Nick Dean, who's like the popular kid. She was in Tiny Toons. She's the new voice of the Granny in Looney Tunes.
Oh, nice.
There's Maurice LaMarche, who played Dr. Vincent Whiskers in this movie. He was Brain on
Animaniacs or on
Pinky and the Brain.
On what?
Pinky and the Brain.
Pinky and the Brain on Animaniacs. Okay.
Yeah, he was in Hey Arnold, The Real, and The Extreme Ghostbusters. And then we have some other side characters. There's one that I was really not even going to mention, but she does kind of come up as a kind of driving point in this. Her name is Michelle Abrams. She plays Jennifer in this movie. She doesn't have a very storied background, but the TV shows that she has are actually pretty interesting.
Is she one of the live action players or one of the
live
voice
action
actors? Okay, gotcha.
She plays one of the neighbors. So Jennifer is one of the neighbors.
Who played? Okay, I'm remembering the film, and I'm remembering there's the brunette that was like Brad Pitt's love interest.
That's Lynette.
That's Lynette. Okay,
Yeah.
And who's that again?
That's Candy Milo.
That's Candy Milo. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. And she's the one that played like Brain and some of the other characters.
No, not Brain. She was
Not
in
Brain.
Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
Okay, who's she in Jimmy Neutron?
Nick Dean.
Who?
The popular character, Nick Dean.
Nick Dean. Oh, the guy. Okay, yeah.
You don't listen to me when I talk to you.
I do. It's just there was a lot of information there, sir. How dare you? You named off like 14 names.
Well, I also named our entire childhood too. So I mean,
You really did. Like there were 1,000 cartoons named there.
Yeah, there was.
And I would like to enter that as evidence into the record. Literally 1,000 cartoons were just named. How dare you?
Well, going back to Michelle Abrams, she played Jennifer in the movie, which is actually kind of interesting because in Buffy the movie, she also played another girl named Jennifer.
Does she just have like a Jennifer face?
I think so, yeah. She played in Junior, which is the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
She was like a side character, and then she was like a girl in the waiting room, I think is what it said.
See, I want to, okay, like make a note. If we're ever famous enough, we need to get her on the podcast and we need to ask her how now do you feel about having been in the movie Junior?
Well, I think she might have some interesting things to say because she was also in Troll 2.
Oh, okay. So she's still hooking and jabbing. She's still got some good work going.
I mean, Troll 2 was another movie that was bashed. I mean, this movie was bashed,
Wait.
but that one was bashed too.
Are you talking about Troll 2, the cartoon? Or are you talking about Troll 2, the 1990s horror film?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I thought you meant the cartoon.
No.
Oh, God. You mean the garbage. Wait, hold on. Who is she in that one?
I forget the character's name. I'd have to...
Tell me she's the troll queen.
No, I don't think so. No.
I was about to say...
She was probably a bit character in this one. I'd have to look it up again. But she usually plays like bit roles. But she was also in Lewis and Clark, the Superman TV show. So
like with Dean Cain.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's that.
So what is this movie about?
So the movie starts off with Brad Pitt, who plays the character Frank. Frank comes home from World War II, so during that time it's the 40s. He comes home, he's got this really nice motorcycle that he got. I believe it's in a poker game. And he comes home to his mom, and he's really excited to show her. He wants to take her out. He has this really cool suit in the beginning of the movie. It's like a nice grayish zoot suit, which I love zoot suits. And he's like, all right, let's go for a ride. They go for a ride, and then it kind of pans to another couple who had been drinking at a gambling hall. Unfortunately, they do hit Frank and his mom. They both fly off, and whenever they land, his mom dies instantly, and Frank's kind of just sitting there screaming. But then it takes another twist. It flips into what's called the cool world, which is like where cartoons live. And it flips to a character, Doc Whiskers. Doc Whiskers is working on the Spike, which is essentially like a bridge between our world and the cool world. And he sees the scene. Well, in Frank's grief, he actually arrives in Cool World, and he doesn't know what the heck is going on. He thinks he's being delusional because he's like, you guys are cartoons. You're not real. I love that.
Is that how he does
exactly
it?
How
You're not real.
He like snaps in the guy's face, and he's like, "No, we're real." And he basically starts talking about Cool World, exactly what he is. He asks what Frank did in life. Frank says he was a soldier. He's like, "Oh, we can use you here." Then it fast forwards to 1992. And, 1992 was a great year. That's actually the year I was born. So that's a good time.
Yeah, that's a good year.
It flashes to Jack Deeps, played by Gabriel Byrne, who is a artist. And he thinks that he is creating the cool world. There's a character that he keeps drawing by the name of Hollywood, who is Kim Basinger. Basinger's Basinger's character. And she's like this overly sexy cartoon character whose arms like reach out of the painting or out of the drawing that he's doing and kind of enticing him to come to Cool World. Because now we've already established that they can bridge the gap between these two.
Okay, this sounds like overtly sexual.
Oh, it is very sexual. If you watch the movie, Holly's character is drawn in almost like a Marilyn Monroe fashion, but if like Marilyn Monroe was not classy at all.
What does that mean?
Well, if you even looked at Marilyn Monroe and said, "Oh, that's beautiful. That's beauty. That's awesome." Everything about her is just gorgeous. But then like strip her down a little bit and give her just like nothing to wear. That's what Holly's wearing. She's, blonde, she's busty. She's like, I know your childhood fantasy.
But why you gotta bring up old stuff?
I mean, it's because that's what we're talking about.
Anybody who is not attracted to Jessica Rabbit in the 90s, like I don't even know how to talk to you. Like it's just, that's what we had. We had cartoons.
That's true. I mean, I still have my cartoons, but so it's kind of funny that they drew her almost like Marilyn Monroe, because in the movie she idolizes Marilyn Monroe, and she has this whole like vision that she wants to come to the real world. She's disillusioned by the cool world, which is actually kind of funny because it's a cartoon character. But she wants to live in Vegas, and she's gonna find a way to get there. Now, I'm gonna use some terms in here that are gonna kind of separate the two universes. You have the Doodles, which all live in Cool World. They're all cartoon characters. They are very trippy. The entire world is very trippy. But then you have us humans, which are called Noids.
Noids.
Yes, Noids.
Like, wait, hold on. Are you using the same word that was used to refer to that weird character from the old Domino's commercial?
Yes.
God.
It's kind of funny what goes on is that Frank may have some mental issues. We don't really know. They keep saying that he's a wackadoo the entire movie, which makes me think that there's kind of like this weird thing that people that are kind of mentally ill can find their way to Cool World.
Okay, wait, hold on. You said wackadoo. You said zoot suit. Is there kind of a 1920s like thing going on here? 1940s, something like that in terms of like the way this is?
No. It's a mix of everything. So the music itself is very 90s. Frank is, he's from the 40s. So he's got that kind of classy way of talking. Even his girlfriend Lynette, who I'm kind of jumping ahead, but his girlfriend Lynette is almost like a 40s pinup. She looks kind of like Jessica Rabbit with black hair. So there's that. Going back to Jack keeps finding his way into Cool World because he has what's called a mind slip. Basically, his mind just wanders and he ends up there. Which, watching the movie, it kind of seems as if Noids find their way into Cool World a lot.
Okay.
Because there's some motifs in there. One of the big things about this is that now that Jack has found his way into Cool World, he meets Frank. Frank is a cop in the Cool World, and there's like a huge rule in Cool World. It's like the one law that they have is that Noids do not have sex with Doodles.
Okay.
So that's pretty much all he's doing is just stopping Noids from having sex with these cartoon characters.
So wait, hold on. Didn't you say Brad Pitt had a girlfriend in this, Lynette?
Yeah, Lynette.
Okay, so they're just not doing nothing?
No.
Like not even hand stuff?
No, not even hand stuff. They're really not doing anything. From what they kind of had this kind of cat and mouse kind of thing.
All right.
Where she definitely wants to go there. He definitely wants to go there, but he's like, I'm not going to do that. He's
completely off topic. So Brad Pitt is basically like forever stuck in Cool World, right?
Yes.
What does he eat?
They never go into what the heck he eats. They don't go into a lot of things. They don't go if he sleeps. His suit is immaculate. It's the same suit he had from the real world, which he was pretty much tattered whenever whenever he left the real world. Now it's fresh. Everything's perfect.
So it's almost like he's even as a human within Cool World, there's almost some cartoon adjacentment for him. I don't know if that's adjacentment. I don't know if that's a word.
Well, I mean, when you look at his car that he's driving, when he gets there, his car is a cartoon car. When it stops, it looks like a real car, but then when he gets out, it's just 2D. He can walk right around it and it's super flat.
So, okay, do the character or do the humans in Cool World, are they subject to cartoon physics, if you will? You know what I mean? Like, so like if he were to fall down, instead of dying, he would just kind of bounce and he'd be fine.
They don't really go into that because he doesn't really fall in the Cool World, but he has like weird strength. He can like slap these cartoon characters around and they go bouncing and all this kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, there's some definite...
So he might not even need food from this, this kind of... Obviously, I don't want to go too deep into this because I just find this fascinating. What the heck has this guy been eating for 20 years? Or 40 to 90, so 50 years.
20 years. That's a big difference, man.
And obviously, he doesn't age at all.
No, he doesn't age at all. So it's kind of like
it
kind of like he stops him from aging. It stops everything from that point in time, and he's pretty much immaculate.
Gotcha. So he probably doesn't eat because it's probably just it's almost like he's subject to cartoon rules, and cartoons don't necessarily need to eat unless it's for comedic value in most cases. Okay, gotcha.
In addition to like the rules that he had about the Noids don't have sex with noodles, he does go in to say that if you bring like even a pen into the Cool World, that can be a weapon. He like basically dips the pen in a drink at one point, and, like shoots it across the room to his partner Nails, who's like the spider-like creature. And so he's telling him this is dangerous, and Jack's an artist, so he's gonna have that pen on him at all times. That pin might come back later.
Oh, you're saying, okay, I think I wasn't following there. So what you're saying is the pen is dangerous because much like you can in the real world where you draw, in Cool World, because this is a cartoon reality, you can draw basically something into reality here. Okay, that's why it's dangerous.
So we've already established that Holly really wants to become real. And so the reason that you cannot have sex with a doodle if you're annoyed is because if that doodle has sex with you, they now become annoyed. And that's her whole goal. She really wants to become annoyed. So she doesn't even really like Jack in this entire movie. You kind of get that. She's just using him to get into the real world.
Gotcha.
So Jack keeps finding his way back into Cool World. And each time, just some random stuff happens. There's at one point where he goes, she's trying to seduce him in the club. They end up finding their way out on the outskirts of town, being chased by these cops, which they call poppers. Poppers. Kind of funny. It's just an odd movie. All of the little cronies that she have are really weird. There's this guy named Slash. There's this one character that's in a diaper and he's got really long nails. It's very...
Oh, I think I remember that character. Yeah. Sorry, you just unlocked a core memory there, and I think it was a nightmare because I remember that thing being creepy looking.
Oh no, I sat down with my girlfriend and we watched this movie, and she was like, "Am I high?" Like, no, this is just this movie.
Was this her first time seeing it?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
it was great.
What did she? Is she okay? Do I need to send her a cake?
You probably need to send her a cake. Like she would love that. She would love that.
Oh my god.
Frank actually goes to interrogate Holly and kind of ask her what's been going on with Jack, because he knows if this happens, this is going to be bad. And no one really explains why it's going to be bad, but everyone pretty much knows we just don't do this. Holly on the screen has some Marilyn Monroe picture going on in the background. She says that Let's Make Love is a song that she's memorized by heart. She knows all the choreography. And she even tries to seduce Frank at one point, but Frank just is not having it. He's like, no, we don't do this. Just stop. Almost immediately, Jack comes back to the Cool World. And after, some things that happen, he gets invited to the club that she kind of lives above. And he goes into her room. And it's kind of funny because as they are trying to consummate what they've been trying to get, everything kind of stops in the Cool World. And there's this bunny character who's like, man is in the bedroom. So everyone knows what the heck is going to happen. Her cronies are upset, not because of that she's going to have sex with a Noid, but because they were supposed to watch. So they just
if I remember this correctly, aren't they all just kind of isn't there a bunch of them standing outside the bedroom all excited?
No, they're standing outside the building. They're
Outside
not
the
even
building.
But then they start stacking trash cans and all that kind of stuff to get up there to try to see it. And like
because of course
they fall a couple times, but they keep building it up. They really just want to see this happen. Frank knows that this is about to go on, so he comes back, and Nails is trying to take him up the side of this building because the doorman has basically said, "No, you're not going to come through. This is a private event." Private event.
Heyo.
Heyo. So they get up there. He doesn't stop it in time. There's a moment where Holly and Jack are they're doing the business in a climactic moment in this movie.
Oh, a climactic moment,
Yeah.
AJ?
Let's just say that.
So this particular moment has reached a climax.
Yep. Yeah, someone has at least, because the whole window busts open. Holly is very excited, and she starts to transform into a Noid, who is Kim Basinger.
Okay, say it with me. All right, say Bay singer. Basinger.
Basinger.
Think of it like a jazz singer, but instead they're a Bay singer.
Kim Basinger. So Holly is now a human. And she only wants to go to the real world. She's got this fantasy. She's going to get to Vegas.
Okay, so having sex with a Noid makes a doodle annoyed, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee their passage into the real world.
No.
Okay.
So you're just annoyed living in the cool world. And
Gotcha.
even
you're another Brad Pitt.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And her cronies are kind of interesting because they say that she's ugly now. They thought that she was beautiful as a doodle, but now that she's a human, they don't want no part of her. So Nails actually finds out that she's now a Noid, and he gets a call, and he's trying to get a hold of Frank, but Frank's having an alone time with Lynette, and it's kind of this big thing in there that they never really get to spend alone time because Nails keeps interrupting.
Right.
So Nails is like, all right, well, I'm going to do this myself. He goes out there, finds Holly, tries to stop her, but remember that pen that came in earlier? She now has that pen.
Okay, so wait. How did she get the pen? Didn't Frank have the pen?
Frank did have the pen, but he gave it back to Jack. And it's really not sure if it's the exact same pen, but Jack's an artist. He always has a pen on him. So either way, Jack had the pen.
So Kim Basinger,
yes,
Kim Basinger, may have gotten her hands on a pen during certain climaxes within the story.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Fallen.
Now, since she's got it, she uses it on Nails. Nails gets sucked into the pen, and she's like, all right, well, we're going. Jack takes them back to the real world, and now she's like, okay, well, I'm going to go balls to the wall. I'm going to live my dream. Now, this is like a slight thing to me, but it irritated me, and I don't know why. She changed her outfit like 6 times since she got there, and I don't know why that made me so mad, but I was like, why do you keep changing your outfits?
Well, also, like, wait, hold on. Did she ever do any outfit changes in Cool, or just after she got to the real world?
She did change her outfit, like, I think twice in Cool World.
Where did she get clothes? This is Cool World. Like she just turned into a human. Where did she get clothes?
Sean, this is a movie about humans and cartoons together. I think they can do some other things besides just exist.
Apparently Brad Pitt has been starving since the 40s, and Kim Basinger is just finding random people clothes laying around in cartoon land.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed. Wow. I just said
you
I'm
are
annoyed. I am annoyed, but I'm also annoyed.
I see.
That's
interesting.
Oh God, that's awful. My dad would be proud. Oh.
So now that they are back in the real world, Frank realizes he's got to go stop them because he kind of knows that this is not going to be good. If she is to get a hold of a certain item, which we kind of saw in the beginning, things could be detrimental to both worlds. So he's like, all right, I got to go back. He really does not want to go back. That's where all of his grief was with his mom. The last thing he had happen there was his mom dying. So he really doesn't want to visit that world. There's a point where Lynette's talking to him earlier in the film, and she's asking him if he ever really wanted to go back. He's like, no, I don't want to go back. That's, a world full of pain. This is the real world. So he kind of revisits the pain of his mom dying. And for some reason, that's a way that triggers him back to the real world. So then he's back in the real world. While this is all happening, while he's trying to figure out how to get there, Holly and Jack are hitting the town. They come across this club that she really wants to go to. She does a whole Marilyn Monroe act of let's make love. So she is just on the stage living her best life. Jack gets kicked out because he sees, the girl he's supposed to be with attracting all this attention by all these other guys. And he's very upset. He gets thrown out. During the performance, she switches from her normal Noid self into a doodle. But it's a different type of doodle. It's like a clown version of herself.
Oh, weird.
And Jack actually starts turning into a Noid himself. He turns into like this weird kind of...
Wait, you mean Jack turns into a doodle?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Jack turns into a doodle, and it's this very weird thing where they keep flashing back and forth between doodle and Noid.
Interesting.
We don't know if it has something to do with the fact that he's like transferred some of his Noidness to her, and she's transferred his Noidness, and she's transferred some of her doodleness to him. I don't really but I don't really know why they explain what that happens. But now they keep switching back. It's only a matter of time before she's a permanent doodle again.
Okay.
There's this whole running motif that she's kind of espoused the entire movie. She's talking about the fact that there's a spike of power that Vegas Vinny created that allowed him to breach the gap between the cool world and the real world. And now he's living in Vegas above the, I think it's the Union Plaza Hotel, and he owns it, which is very interesting to me.
So wait, is this Spike? Is this the thing that that pulled Brad Pitt in? Okay. So same item. Whatever, like the doctor in the beginning was working on, and apparently Vegas Vinny now has it.
Yeah, Vegas Vinny has it. He started the Union Hotel. Now he lives there, but he's a doodle living in the real world. She has heard this. She really embraces that. She's like, I'm just going to find the spike.
Wait, is he actually a doodle, or is he a doodle that becomes a Noid?
He's a doodle that just crossed over and has been living in the real world.
So he's been living in the real world as a damn cartoon, and nobody noticed this?
Yeah. I mean, there's kind of a reason for that, and they don't really explain it, but like I said, they're doodles, they're Noids. I can't really give you a real like reason of why people haven't suspected things. It's like an acid trip for this entire movie anyway, so let's just go with the fact that no one notices that there's a fucking cartoon character just living in. So Holly says that we're going to go to the Union Hotel. I'm going to find the spike. Jack's like, no, let's not do this. I don't really want to have a part of this. She kicks Jack out of the car, and then she makes her way to the Union Hotel. She gets there.
Damn Basinger.
Yeah, Basinger. She gets there, but they quickly throw her out because they're like, there's no Vegas Vinny here. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, because that's who she's looking for. And while standing outside of the club, this little figure pops up next to her, all dressed like head to toe in almost like hobo garb. So he's talking to her, and she kind of tells there's something off about him. The clothes don't match or something like that. So she grabs the pen and she starts poking at him a little bit. And it turns out that the doctor from the beginning, Dr. Whiskers, whose name is Dr. Vincent Whiskers, is actually Vegas Vinny.
Oh, so Whiskers is Vegas Vinny. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so he comes and he's had the spike above the hotel the entire time. And he tells her, do not grab that spike, that it will cause chaos through both dimensions. She doesn't care. So essentially what she does is she uses the pen to basically make him explode.
She kills Vegas Vinny?
No, he's a doodle, so he's not dead. She just kind of pokes him and explodes. It's kind of funny.
He exploded?
Yeah, he's splody.
He's splody. So he's Splody Vinny.
Yeah, he's Splody Vinny.
He's Spaghetti Vinny.
And while she's doing this, Frank has now arrived in the cool world. Jack came back home. He starts kind of having it out with Jack, and he's like, look, you couldn't keep your dick in your pants. Now this is happening. We have to figure out what's going on, because he knows that if she gets a hold of the spike, essentially what's going to happen is the worlds are going to merge, and not in a good way. So he's like, we have to stop her. So while they're having it out, the neighbor next door, who has already seen some like weird stuff going on, comes over to investigate. This is Jennifer, who I was talking about at the beginning.
So we're back in the real world again.
Yeah, we're back in the real world.
Okay.
Jennifer has come over and she's kind of talking to them, and she hears them talking, and I don't think she puts two and two together that this is real, that there's like a cartoon world and a human world. I don't know. But they're like, well, we can't get to the Union Plaza. There's no car. And she's like, well, I got my mom's car. So she's driving them to go do this.
Please tell me it's a minivan.
Oh, no, it's just a car.
Oh. So I was just hoping to see like Brad Pitt and Gabriel just in the back, just having to sit there, like, you know, just kind of awkwardly in silence while she's driving a minivan.
That'd be hilarious.
I mean, I know this is the 90s, so, you know, I can't really imagine
like
the
a
full
station wagon.
Yeah, it's like probably more like a station wagon, but, you know, like there's a drop down and Lilo and Stitch is playing.
Yeah, exactly. So they get to the Union Plaza Hotel. They kind of find Vinny in a state of disarray because he's just been exploded, and they help him get himself back together. And they're telling him, "Look, you got to go stop her." Jack and Frank start to go, but Frank basically tells him, "No, you got to stay here. You've already done enough damage. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to talk to Holly." So Frank goes up there and he finds Holly. They have kind of a scuffle. Since she can kind of shift back and forth between a Noid and a Doodle, she tries to run at a wall and tries to change into a Doodle so she could just leap through it, and that does not work out for her. She kind of smashes into the wall.
As like a person?
Oh, yeah.
So Kim Basinger just smashed into a wall.
Yeah. And Frank does not care about kind of throwing her around a little bit. I mean, he's from the 40s. I guess that was just their mentality.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm getting flashbacks of interviews with Sean Connery. Good God. All right, go on.
So she's pleading with Frank, and she's like, hey, just help me, Frank. And at the last moment, she kind of tricks him, flashes into a Doodle, kicks him off the building, and Frank goes splat on the ground.
Oh.
Frank's dead.
Okay. Wait, and we're not in Cool World right now.
No, we're in the real world.
We're in the real world.
Mm.
But, okay, so he's died in the real world.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
He's died in the real world, and he's killed by Holly. She makes her way back up to the top of the building.
Wait, hold on. Was she a Doodle or a Noid when she killed him?
She was a Doodle at the time.
Okay, so she was... Okay, I feel like that's important, isn't it? Isn't that kind of like... Isn't there...
We'll find out.
Okay. Oh, will we?
Oh, yeah. So she makes her way back up to the top of the building, and Jack is like, okay, well, I need to figure out how to do this. I have to save this. Vegas Vinny is talking to him, and he's like, hey, you have to look inside yourself and find the power to help and do this. So he kind of uses his ability as a Doodle and changes his hands into some weird cartoon hands, and he grapple hooks his way up the building.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Get out of here.
Well, he gets to the top.
So wait, hold on. Let me make sure I've got this right. So Jack has been just this absolute piece of shit this whole time, who's nothing more than an artist who apparently didn't even actually make the Cool World. And all of this is essentially his fault for being horny. Mm-hmm. But then we have like a Spider-Man like uncle, great power comes great responsibility, use it wisely. It's all, you're the one Neo moment with him.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. We'll talk about this movie a little bit later, whenever I kind of bring in some fun facts about the movie and why this should have played out a different way.
Oh my God, this is so bad. Go on.
Yeah. So Jack goes up the side of the building. He makes it to the top. He doesn't make it in time. Holly grabs the spike, but before she'd grab the spike, you actually see there's like a swirling mass of cartoon characters kind of above it. So when she grabs it, they all kind of converge on her. She turns into a Doodle again, her original Doodle self, and this horde of cartoon characters kind of flies across the city.
I'm getting like images of Doctor Strange in the multiverse right now. That's like where my brain is seeing, because it's like she's just basically like destroying the fabric between these two realities.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
As they're kind of passing over humans and stuff like that, these humans are switching back into Doodles and back.
Shit.
Yeah, so it's changing everything. Even Jennifer, who is the neighbor, she changes for a second into like a Doodle character.
And she was like, screw this, I'm gonna go be in Trolls 2.
Oh yeah. What's crazy to me about this is that some of the characters in the movie that switched to a Doodle form don't even care. Like there's these ladies at the slot machine that one of them turns into a Doodle. She looks over, starts screaming, turns into a Doodle, and goes right back to what she was doing. So it's like, what the hell?
I mean, that makes sense. If you've ever been to a casino and you've seen those ladies at the slot machines, they've got laser focus.
Oh yeah,
all right?
just a little bit.
If I could borrow an ounce of that laser focus, we could get through this podcast so much faster.
Oh, exactly. So this whole horde of cartoon characters is causing just mass amounts of chaos. Jack, on the other hand, has now turned into a superhero. Like he's now a Doodle, but he's a superhero character. Classic, I need to go save the day. Blah, 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 blah. Big puffy chest.
Is that what he said? Blah, blah, blah.
Pretty much.
Is that his superhero call sign?
He's like, I have to return the spike. Ah. So he goes up.
I have to return the spike.
That's exactly how he sounds.
The spike! It's up to me to return the spike!
And so he goes up and he's like fighting all of these cartoon characters to get to the spike. And he's got to wrestle it back into the little hole that the spike was in, which is kind of funny because that's how we got there in the first place. He put something in a hole and kind of caused chaos.
Feel good about that?
I do.
You proud of what you just
I
did?
do. Now he's got to put something else in a hole and fix it. So he wrestles the spike away from Holly. She's like, no, don't do this, because she's now having a blast with all these freaking cartoon characters that are just warping reality. He plunges the spike back in, and everything kind of shifts back to normal. They are transported in another area. It's kind of Cool World, but kind of not Cool World. It's kind of weird how this all goes.
Okay.
Nails in the meantime, you kind of get a flash of the pen from earlier had actually dropped out of Holly's pocket whenever she was kind of going out the building. And whenever it hits the ground, there's like a puddle of black goo, like, the ink, and Nails comes out and he sees Frank's body and he starts bawling. And he's like, no, I have to return his body back to Cool World to Lynette because she needs to know what happened to Frank. So he does transport. I don't know how the hell they don't really explain how this happens, on how they can just go back and forth.
I mean, at this point, it seems like we've just kind of abandoned all the original rules that were set up. We've abandoned the original, dynamics between the characters. All of a sudden, Frank is now a superhero and is, and I mean, like at this point, it's like, fine, let's just let him. Let's just give him all the superhuman ability to just travel between realities. Why the hell not?
So Frank is transported back. He's already dead. He's laying on the ground. Nails is just bawling, and Lynette sees him, and they have a moment where she's like, what happened? Who killed him? And he's like, it was Holly. And I don't think I've actually mentioned this yet, but Holly's name is actually Hollywood.
Yeah, no, you did. You mentioned that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to jump on it, too, but I was like, okay, I guess it's kind of obvious. Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah,
fun.
but it's not W-O-O-D. It's W-O-U-L-D, so Hollywood.
W-O-U-L-D? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, like Hollywood do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's kind of weird, yeah.
That is awful. That is just awful.
Yeah.
That's like it's like the whole film is based on a terrible dad joke. That's awful.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So Lynette's like, Holly, and then she has a moment of realization. She's like, wait, was she a doodle whenever she killed him, or was she annoyed? And Nails confirms that yes, she was a doodle. I don't know how the hell he.
I was about to ask, like, how the hell does he know?
Isn't he in the damn pen? He was in the pen the entire time. I don't know how the hell he knew this.
Maybe it's a magic pen.
We're just gonna spikes and sex with doodles and noids. We're just gonna keep going. He just knew. So he knows that, she was a doodle whenever she killed Frank. Apparently, if you have sex with a Noid as a doodle, you become a Noid. But if you are killed by a doodle and you are a Noid, you become a doodle. But that was only supposed to happen in Cool World, but I don't know if it has to do with the fabric of reality or not. Frank now becomes a doodle.
Like right then and there.
Yeah, right then and there.
So what you're telling me is that Brad Pitt, Frank,
yeah,
he's been laid on the ground dead.
Yeah.
For like, what, an hour?
A good hour.
Like an hour in film time. Not in film time, but in like within the context of the film. He's just been laying on the ground dead for an hour. A spider comes along, picks him up, takes him back to Cool World. Lynette has the epiphany, and right there he changes.
Yeah.
This is the biggest load of horseshit I've ever heard.
Well, it's kind of cool how he changes. I don't like the look of the character, but apparently he's very sexy to Lynette because she's like, oh, look at him. Oh, and so he's gorgeous.
It's definitely been 20 years or more since I've seen this movie, but I do remember the when he changes, because I remember what he said. Because
hubba, baby, what do you think?
Dig it. And like, that's what I remember. He's like, dig it. Like, what?
Yeah.
Because even in the 1990s, I think all of us were looking around going, what who talks like
what
this?
The hell's going on here? So now that Frank is a doodle, there's no reason why he can't consummate his love for Lynette. And they're about to go do the thing.
They're about to go doodle?
Yeah.
Yeah,
doodle.
So is that the end of this?
Kinda. I mean,
God.
There's a part where Nails comes in after Nails has already interrupted them a couple times, and they're like, Nails, get out, essentially, because
they've been waiting. They've been waiting 50 years. Yeah, I get it.
It's time.
That's a lot of buildup.
Yeah. And so Nails goes, he's like hanging off a fence post, just crying, because Nails cries a lot in this movie. And then it kind of flashes to Jack and Holly off on their own separate little part of, I guess it's Cool World. It's this weird, creepy cartoon area.
So wait, is Jack still a cartoon at this point?
They're both still cartoons.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And so Jack is still in his superhero mindset. He's like, so we're gonna build a house over here. We're gonna have kids over here. Nah.
What's he, a 1940s gangster?
Yeah. And so Holly is just like, needle dick. She's just so pissed. And that's the end of the movie itself. And there's actually a song that's playing at the end. The movie has a great soundtrack, which the critics actually loved. And the ending song of this is a song by David Bowie, actually.
David Bowie, really?
Yeah, it's called The Real Cool World. Me and my
totally
girlfriend we were watching it, and we were like, oh my God, that's David Bowie.
That totally makes sense based off just the entirety, the entire everything of the film. Whether we're talking about a movie like Labyrinth or a movie like Cool World, those are definitely the kind of projects where you can just go, yeah, you can put some David Bowie in here. So now, in the very beginning, you told me that Jack, the artist, thinks he created Cool World, but he didn't.
No.
So I mean, was that just it, that he just didn't? It was just always there, or what?
Yeah, so Cool World has always been there, obviously, because Frank was in the 40s and it was there.
Okay.
It just kind of exists side by side with our universe. I believe it has to go back, again, talking about his mental illness, because he just thinks he created it. So he just has these visions of Cool World he just draws.
And could it also be suggested that maybe he's not even necessarily mentally ill, in the traditional way that we would think of, but more it's that Holly has been reaching out to him through this, this rift in these realities, and kind of toying with his subconscious and somewhat driving him, to a point where he believes himself to be, having issues with his mental health.
There's either that or it's just a fucking wackadoo movie and they just never explain it.
You just had to throw in wackadoo, didn't
you? Yeah, because we said it. It was great.
Wackadoo. Wasn't that in Spider-Man where he's like, I don't know about that guy, wackadoo.
No, he's like, oh, he stinks and I don't like him.
It was that scene. So, how did Brad Pitt even get introduced into this film?
So Ralph Baranski actually wanted Brad Pitt to be a part of the movie, but the studio didn't want Brad Pitt. At the time, they didn't think he was a bankable star. He was still new on the scene. So to get him, he actually had to have Kim Basinger as well. She had to be a part of this movie.
Okay, so how did that, like, did they do like a previous project together, or like how did that coupling come about?
Kim Basinger just was, the studio really wanted her. That's really what they wanted. That's really it.
Interesting. So who was saying that they had to have that coupling? Like, that if you got
the studio,
one or the other?
Paramount.
Gotcha. So okay, so basically the writer or the director, who was it that wanted Brad Pitt?
The director wanted Brad Pitt.
So the director wants Brad,
he reminded him
and the
of
studio said you can have Brad, but only if you take Kim.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's actually a interview that Media Mike Presents does where he talks about how he really liked Brad Pitt, how he thought he was a young James Dean.
Interesting.
And that he played the guitar great because he lived at his house for a little bit. And it kind of ended one night because Brad Pitt's girlfriend at the time just kind of stormed in, which was kind of funny. But he really, really, really liked Brad Pitt. He did not like Kim Basinger. Basinger, god damn it. This is a direct quote from him. He says, she's a great actress, but not a hot chick.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful woman.
He really wanted like just a really sex symbol. So Tracy Lords was actually slated to play Holly for a little bit. I don't know if she was slated, but at least she was in the running for it.
Hold on, you're not just going to gloss over this. Tracy Lords, like the 1990s porn star that actually started as before she was supposed to be able to do pornography.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's who he imagined?
Yeah. He really wanted like a classic sex idol, which kind of...
I guess that kind of goes along with the whole motif of the film. I don't know. I'm having a hard time seeing Tracy Lords in that role. But then I guess the problem I would have is Tracy Lords is, she's a sex star, and that's fine. But that doesn't necessarily translate to a feature length film.
Yeah.
Outside of because obviously nobody's watching a pornography for the acting abilities. So
I'm gonna call bullshit though for a second, because I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Crybaby. Tracy Lords is in Crybaby. She's also in Zack and Miri.
Crybaby with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Does she play a major role?
Yeah, she plays one of the friends of the Crybaby.
Are you telling me I've never there's been all these films that she's in that I don't know about?
Yeah.
What else was she in?
She was also in Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Who was she in? Oh well, yeah, okay, no, that's right.
Bubbles.
Yeah, Bubbles. Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, she does do a
she's
pretty
got
good
some
job.
acting chops. Yeah, she's got some acting chops, so she could have done it. I really love to see that.
But a whole feature-length film where she's the main actress, I don't know.
I think she could have done it.
That's definitely a departure.
Either way, neither here nor there. Kim Basinger.
Just say Kim. Just say Kim.
Either
go
way,
with Kim's.
Kim.
Like nobody's gonna be listening to this going, "Well, clearly he meant Kim Possible."
Yeah, Kim Possible. Anyway. So Kim's role in the movie and just her being attached to this was kind of problematic for everyone a little bit, because she changed kind of how the flow of the movie was going to go. The movie was actually originally going to be rated R, but she didn't think that would be a good thing. So they kind of made it PG-13, and the studio actually agreed on this, and so did the producer. What's kind of interesting to me is that this is not the movie that I would have thought would have fit this, but she really wanted to show this movie to sick kids at hospitals. And
okay, wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
She
let me get this straight. The film where the driving factor of the plot is Kim Basinger trying as a cartoon trying to fuck so that she can become a real boy. She wanted to show that to sick kids.
Yeah. That was the thing. And you know what? The producer thought it was great. The director was like, that's really great that you want to do that, but this is the wrong movie.
This is just like, I'm just how do you even do? Hey kids, I know we're not all feeling so good today, but you know what? How about a little bit of existential dread? Get the fuck out of here.
Ralph Baranski's career is actually pretty storied as well. I mean, he had the movie Wizards, he had Fire and Ice, he did the animated Lord of the Rings, the original one, and Fritz the Cat. And one of the things he was talking about was that he does a lot of cartoonish, clownish characters because of how humans are in real life. He's like, most humans aren't, most people aren't who they say they are. He's like, most of us are just clowns. So he took that as a reflection of society and made that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And when you listen to him talk, he's like this, he sounds like he's from the Bronx. He's got this really like New York accent. It's just hilarious.
So he's probably the reason why we have so much use of the word wackadoo in this film. We can blame him.
I 100% think so.
I'm from the Bronx, and all of you are just a bunch of wackadoos.
Kinda.
I don't know why I combined a little bit of a Michiganer accent in there, like wackadoos.
Wackadoos.
Well, don't you know? You gosh darn wackadoos.
Do you want some ambrosia salad?
Well, that sounds like a wackadoo of an idea to me.
So like I said earlier, it was a critical failure, but it has a cult following. Kim Basinger, god damn it, has a Razzie for this as worst actress. So Ralph Baranski actually wanted Willem Dafoe to play Jack Deebs initially.
Wait, Jack?
Yeah.
Not Frank?
Not Frank, Jack.
Okay, that makes sense, because, I don't know, Jack... Not that Willem Dafoe is like some sort of, dirtbag lowlife or anything, but I don't know. Like, when obviously the two main characters we have here are kind of a dirtbag lowlife and 40s heartthrob of the James Dean variety, and I just can't see Dafoe playing the 40s heartthrob of the James Dean variety.
Well, interesting you should say that, because Brad Pitt actually wanted to play Jack. Baranski was for it, but the studios hated it.
And that makes sense to me, but that's just it for, kind of being a 40s, or not a 40s, but kind of being the dirtbag role of Jack. I don't know. I think anybody could really play that. You could have somebody who's a little more attractive, because Gabriel is a pretty attractive guy. Mm-hmm. So him stepping into the role perfectly fine. Willem Dafoe stepping into the role, being, more of a unique look, totally fine. Brad Pitt playing that role, totally fine. But the James Dean heartthrob, I don't know. If I'm a director and I'm looking this, I'm thinking, this has to be a guy where we can fall in love with. And I just don't see myself falling in love with Willem Dafoe.
Well, I mean, when you think about it this way, though, Brad Pitt as Jack has a hero arc through the movie, so he does eventually save the day. So, I mean, I get why Brad Pitt wanted to play.
And I fucking fully reject this the hero arc as awful. It's like this guy's just this awful dirtbag that brings about the essential apocalypse, and then all of a sudden he's freaking Neo. Get out of here. This is nonsense.
So Brad Pitt himself actually doesn't, from what I can tell, there's not a whole lot of interviews he does with it, but from what I can tell, he really didn't like the movie all that much. There's a interview that him and his co-stars are doing for Bullet Train where they kind of bring up Cool World, and it's kind of a joke that's been going around with them. They don't really go into it, but one of his co-stars says that he really loves Cool World and that they need to give him a shot, but he's like, Brad Pitt does not. And then Brad just kind of laughs it off. So I don't think Brad is too fond of the movie. As I said before, it was a critical failure.
Yeah, but you also have to figure, when you get to Brad Pitt levels of success, you're going to have some films in your past that are, just absolutely stunning, pieces of cinematic art. And then you're going to have, some things that you're not so proud of. So, when you've had that much, of a catalog to pull from, it totally makes sense. Like, there's going to be films like, Cool World, I'm not so proud of that. And even if, like, because obviously if that was one of only 3 of his credits, he might think differently about Cool World. He might have been like, yeah, it was a great experience. I'm glad I got to do it. Versus, having gotten to work with some really amazing directors, and so on some really incredible projects with some really incredible filmmakers. He, now he's going to look back and go, well, out of all of those, Cool World wasn't exactly the shining, the diamond in the rough, unfortunately.
I mean, I think it is, but that's just me.
I freaking love this movie. It's amazing.
As I was saying before, the studio had changed a bunch of different things. They were also banking on the movie to be a critical success, so much so that they paid $54,000, $27,000 initially to, I guess, the city of LA, but then they also paid another $27,000 to help with like the LA raids that were happening at that time, to build a 75-foot cutout of Hollywood to put next to the Hollywood sign. Shit you not.
I mean, that doesn't sound terrible to me. So,
they really wanted this movie to go well, but I mean, obviously they attached Kim to it, which Drew Barrymore was actually at one point in the running for the Hollywood's role as well.
See, that wouldn't work at all.
I think so. Think about it. She played was it Sugar in Batman Forever?
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
See, still though, it's hard. Even with Sugar, there was a little bit of, even though there was definitely some sexy playfulness there was still a little bit of childhood innocence to it, and that's who she's the girl next door. She's the sweetheart, and I don't know, putting her in the role of somebody who is just flat out a sex crazed cartoon bent on world domination. That's hard for me to see Drew in.
Drew, if you ever hear this podcast, please know. I 100% want to see a remake of this movie with you as Hollywood. I'm here for it.
Okay, well, see, that's now you're giving me a different context. If you're just talking about things I want to see Drew Barrymore in, the answer is all the things.
Oh no, I think she could be Hollywood even to this day. But that's not the key. This is not the Drew Barrymore podcast. This is where we talk about movies we think people should see.
You're right,
and we should.
This is the Sam Elliott podcast, and on that note, what role would Sam Elliott have played? So that's
Nails.
If you've been listening to us for a little bit, for the last three episodes that we've done, you may have caught on that we now want to explore other roles Sam Elliott would definitely have been hilarious in, or just in generally would have rocked at. So who is Sam Elliott playing in this film?
In this movie, he would have been Nails, 100%. Nails has this classic, like, whiny cartoon voice.
So you want to take that whiny cartoon voice and you want to put a little Sam Elliott in it.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
All right. Give me a Nails line as Sam Elliott.
Okay, so there would have been, let's see, at the very end of the movie when he's kind of talking back and forth and he's like, who killed him? And he's whining. He's like, Hollywood.
You stretch that out. Hollywood.
I mean, that's kind of how he says it. So yeah, that's what I would have thought.
Okay, so Sam Elliott, you're going to be playing Nails in the remake with Drew Barrymore as Hollywood.
Brad Pitt could still play Frank.
Of course he can. Have you seen those abs? They go on for years.
And Alfred Molina can go back and play Jack.
You can bring Alfred Molina as Jack.
Yeah, I think this could work.
Just because you've already thought it was Alfred Molina anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Okay.
So where can we watch this film?
So you can watch this on Prime Video. You can watch it on Vudu and Apple TV. You do have to pay for each one. I did it myself on Vudu. You will not be you will probably be disappointed. But I love this movie, so go ahead and watch it.
You're not getting that $3 back.
No.
Well, thank you for joining us once again this week. If you do want to follow us on social media, we will have our socials linked in the bio. AJ has set up an Instagram for us now, so
yeah,
we're gonna go.
We're mobile.
We're gonna be Instagram famous. So if 5 of you follow us, that's Instagram fame, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. It's viral.
That's viral. And as always, remember, even if you pierce the toast,
you can always get more toast.
Oh, we're going to be deliriously happy, honey poo.
Pencil dick.